You're listening to the Cyberwire Network, powered by N2K.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to N2K Cyberwire's Hacking Humans podcast, where each week we look behind the social engineering scams, phishing schemes, and criminal exploits that are making headlines and taking a heavy toll on organizations around the world. I'm Dave Bittner, and joining me is Joe Kerrigan. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Dave.
And our N2K colleague and host of the T-Minus Space Daily podcast, Maria Vermazis. Hello, Maria.
Hello, hi.
We've got some good stories to share this week, but we will be right back after this message from our sponsor. And now, a few thoughts from our sponsors at ThreatLocker. The tactics used by cyber criminals are becoming more and more advanced every day. The shift from a default allow approach to a default deny is more critical than ever. This is where ThreatLocker comes in. Stay tuned for how ThreatLocker allow listing and ring fencing has your back. All right, we have no follow-up today, so we're going to jump right into our stories, and I'm going to do the honors this week. This is actually a story from an organization called Ampix Cyber, a cybersecurity company, but they have kind of like a scam reporter on staff who kind of does awareness videos about scams. And this is one I had not seen before. This is about artificial intelligence generated fake people selling scammy goods online.
Are the goods real?
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
All right.
There are goods. Whether or not they're good goods,
right,
we're going to get to. So what this comes down to is someone pretending to have a leather goods store online. And we're talking about a leather artisan named Grace, who puts in her ads that after more than 3 decades of artisan leather work, Grace is hanging up her tool belt. She's worked her career and it's time to retire. But before she does, putting everything on sale.
Oh, how generous.
A good sale. So you could get up to 80% off these amazing leather bags. Now, Grace, I don't know if you guys could click through to the link I put in the show notes. Grace is a fine-looking, I'd say, older woman. She has silver hair. She has a very nice smile. Looks like someone you would enjoy having a conversation with, someone you could put your trust in. No red flags about Grace herself. But of course, Grace is not real.
Grace doesn't exist?
Grace does not exist, no. And in this image, she's wearing the what you would expect a leather worker to wear. She's got kind of a leather smock on. She's got some work gloves.
It does seem to me like she's missing a finger in this picture.
Okay.
She looks like an aged-up version of Princess Catherine.
Oh,
now that I look
okay.
I'll
take your word for it.
I'll have to take your word for that as well.
I'm not like a big royal watcher, but it just struck me immediately. I'm like, her face looks almost exactly like her, which is eerie.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's
well,
just
I'd say,
creepy.
she's looking right at the camera. She appears to be someone who has confidence, right? Certain amount of style. So again, this is someone I would put my trust in. No red flags about
No
Grace
hesitation?
herself.
Definitely.
No hesitation. Yeah.
Except I'm still wondering how she lost that finger.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
leather.
she's a leather worker,
Right.
that tracks.
Cut it off with the leather scissors.
Right. That's like what you say about to have confidence in your shop teacher. They should have all of their fingers. So what happens is these ads pop up in your social media feed and specifically Facebook and Instagram. And as I said, she's shutting down her workshop after 34 years, but you can own a piece of her legacy. She says, "Our handcrafted leather bags are not just accessories, they're statements of style and quality. Each one tells a story, not just of leather and design, but of dedication, passion, and the journey we've been on together."
Together?
Hold on.
I just met you, Grace.
You're right. This sounds to me like every artisan I mean, it sounds like whatever AI is doing this is pulling from all the artisan crap that's already out there as its training data.
Yeah.
No, there is no story behind this bag. There isn't a story behind the bag until I buy the bag and take the bag with me everywhere. Like my big backpack, we talk about that all the time.
Yes.
Well, why do we talk about that? Because I've had it for 10 years and it's Joe's backpack.
Right.
Even I know about your backpack.
Right.
I've learned.
You need a backpack Sherpa is what you need,
Right.
Joe.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds to me like the AI is just pulling from similar sales, marketing
I think that's
stuff.
exactly right. I mean, it's kind of, what was the joke? What was the Jay Peterson on Seinfeld?
Right.
All of they had similar descriptions
Yeah.
of
Oh my
all
God,
of the
the
products.
catalogs. Yes.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
That's the
wow.
one where that's the same place where Elaine starts getting comma happy one episode, right?
Yeah.
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 Dang, I haven't thought about that in a
but
while. Yeah.
As this article points out, Grace is fake. Deepfake analysis shows that the images of her are very likely generated by AI. She actually speaks in some of the ads because there are video clips, and people are pretty convinced that that's AI generated as well. So what do you guys suppose happens if you decide to buy one of these bags that are 80% off? So just for example, bags that once listed as high as $695 now sell for $139.95.
You get one of two things. Either you get nothing,
Yep.
Yeah.
or you get like a $20 bag out of somewhere in Asia or Bangladesh, Bangladesh is in Asia, but where these things are made, and they just make some kind of bag that looks generic, like it would be artisan, and then you get that, and it costs the company $20, and they sell it to you for $100 and some odd.
Yes, Maria.
That sounds about right.
You concur. Right.
Yeah,
Well, ding, ding.
Yes, I would concur with that. Yep.
That is exactly what happens. What you do get a bag,
Oh,
but the bag you receive is made out of plastic, not leather.
Oh, it's not even that good. So it's not even like
No.
it's vegan
They
leather,
have
right?
it's not a
Well,
knockoff.
they have a term for PU leather. As in,
PU
PU,
leather.
this stinks.
Right.
Which is like it's just
Polyurethane.
polyurethane. Is that what PU
I'm
leather
Probably
is?
polyurethane.
Yeah,
Plastic,
polyurethane.
plastic
it is.
leather.
Yeah,
Yes.
polyurethane. So it's plastic. We
Leather.
remember
Yeah.
back in the day, Joe, we called it pleather.
You're right. We
Yeah.
had pants made out of that.
Right.
They were hot.
Not breathable pleather. Yeah. In
Literally.
your heavy metal band days, Joe, did you ever have pleather pants?
No,
that you
I
wore
was
on
not
stage?
I was not the pleather band kind of heavy metal guy. I was
Okay.
the jeans kind of heavy metal guy.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
there are lots of complaints about these. People say things like, if I could give 0 stars, I would.
would.
Not leather. Nothing like the image or description on the website. Total trash vinyl, not leather. Smell horrible. So there's the PU.
Right.
Um, so these organizations got an F rating from the Better Business Bureau because the ads are deceptive. But if you try to return this, that is very troublesome because
There's no way to do that, I'm sure.
Yeah, to who?
there's a way to do it, but you have to send the bag back to China, which is where the bag was made. Joe, you called that. This is not an artisan craftsperson here in the
Right.
I imagine we're all imagining a little shop somewhere in the suburbs of Boston, or
Right.
right, like the old
Autumn leaves
Yankee
falling from the
workshop,
trees,
right.
Yeah, the old Yankee workshop.
I
The
used to
guy in
love
his
that
van
guy.
out back working on his leather.
Right, exactly.
What? That was a woodworking show, Yankee Workshop?
was,
Yeah,
Yes,
the new
and
Yankee
it was the new
Workshop.
Yankee Workshop, which was always on
Right,
after
right.
this old house.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Right. But before we begin, let's take a moment to talk about shop safety.
I will say this, the new Yankee Workshop guy never really talked about safety a lot because, he didn't have power tools. It was all hand tools.
Mm.
And he,
Is that
So,
really? Anyway,
no, not really.
I don't- I was
New
like, that's
Yankee-
not true.
New Yankee Workshop had lots of power tools.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
was
what
like,
you're
I
thinking
remember
of, Joe, but it's
What?
not that show.
no. What am I thinking of then? What's
I
the
don't
guy?
know.
Okay,
I
doesn't
don't know.
matter.
He had like all power tools. His collection was the envy of everyone I know who does woodworking.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
had like
I
all
mean,
I
of
his
that
gotta look
shop
it
stuff.
up.
was something to be seen. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. No sawdust floating around in that shop.
No. Yeah, sorry. I was like, I
So-
dispute that, sir.
There's other scammy things about this. If you try to initiate a return, they make it look like you're contacting PayPal, but it's not actually PayPal. It's a page on their website that looks like PayPal, but isn't. The people who wrote this article tried to get in direct touch with the folks who are running this operation, and they insist that it's all on the up and up, and these people really exist, and blah blah blah. But
that's worse somehow.
Obviously, yeah, it's not true.
Right.
So the bags are low quality bags, mass produced, made out of plastic in China, and if you buy one and try to return it, it is you have to jump through lots of hoops, send it back to China, and you'll only get a fraction of what you paid for it. So these folks who wrote this article also reached out to Facebook and Instagram, where the ads are largely running.
Oh boy, let me guess.
Sure, they had a lot of luck. Sure, went real well. Yep.
Yeah. No luck there. But it is interesting that there are dozens of stores, and I'm putting scare quotes around stores, that are spun up with this whole Grace scam.
Grace being the model's name.
Grace being the model's name,
right.
Yeah. So it's multiple stores that are spun up doing this, and evidently it works. It's a scam that works. So be mindful. We will have a link to the story in the show notes. There's also a helpful video here that kind of takes you through it if you want to see the videos that the scammers are putting up that is using the AI to try to convince you to buy this. You can take a look. So buyer beware, and that is my story this week. We will, as I say, we will have a link in the show notes. Joe, you're up next. What do you got for us?
So first off, I would like to say, no, I was not thinking of the New Yankee Workshop. I was thinking of the Woodwright Shop.
Okay.
Which is the guy I used to love to watch.
Okay.
Who did everything with old-style hand tools. And because of that, didn't really talk a lot about safety. Although, I guess when he was swinging that axe between his feet, it was a great show.
Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, it was like that and Bob Ross. I could watch either one of those things.
Okay.
For a whole day.
Very gratifying.
Yeah.
Yes. Just watch. Yeah.
So I kind of went down a rabbit hole with my story because I wound up with the first story, which is we're going to put a link to both these stories in the show notes. They're both from CBS News. This first one is from Shima Samu at CBS, and it is talking about the sentencing of 6 people in a romance scam. So one of the women, or actually the one woman that was sentenced, her name is Jennifer Gosha. She is a former U.S. Post Office employee and Iraq veteran who was sentenced to 3 years of probation, plus with the first 6 months being on house arrest with limited movement for her involvement in the fraud case. Now, I'm going to come back to the victim here because that's the rabbit hole I went down.
Okay.
But the other 2 people that were sentenced were both Nigerian nationals. One of them pled guilty and got 10 years. The other one pled not guilty and was convicted on all counts, and got 20 years in prison.
Wow.
The reason that Ms. Gosha only got 6 months was because she was kind of duped into this by her ex-boyfriend, who was one of the scammers. And she says she regretted getting sucked into this dumbass scheme, is the quote from her.
Oh.
All right.
It's eloquent testimony.
Right. It doesn't say... okay. Yes, I will agree with that. But one of the victims connected to this scam was Laura Kowal. And then they link to another story where they talk about Kowal's disappearance. She was a retired healthcare executive from Galena, Illinois, and this group of people, Kowal got involved in a romance scam through Match.com with somebody who called themselves Frank Borg. Resistance is futile. I had to say it, Dave. I had to say it.
I know. If you didn't, Maria was.
Yeah, I was thinking it.
And what started out as a telephone romance quickly increased to more and more desperate requests for money. At first, Ms. Kowal sent money willingly. She was a widow, by the way. And later, it appeared that she was being coerced. And over 2 years, they wound up getting $2 million out of Ms. Kowal.
Holy smokes.
So the story that this story links to talks about her disappearance and her unfortunate eventual death. So what happened is she wound up they found her car near a river, and further downstream they found her body.
Jeez.
And her daughter is very involved in this case and doing all kinds of work to try to find out what happened. But the police have classified this as a suicide. However, there's weird stuff going on. Like her last text message to one of her friends was "all is fine" or "everything's okay" or something like that, which may or may not indicate suicide. But in her car, they found the packaging for a cell phone, a burner phone that she didn't have in her possession, which is kind of strange. But she started getting involved as a money mule after she had been scammed out of the money. And I think, I don't know, maybe her daughter suspects that at some point in time, she said, "I can't do this anymore," and maybe this was not a suicide.
Ooh.
So it's an interesting couple of stories. We'll put links to both of them in the show notes. But the first story is the good news that somebody has been punished for this, and a couple of people are getting a good amount of time out of this, 10 years and 20 years.
Wow.
The judge did note that the woman who only got 6 months was not really all that involved in it as well, and may have also been coerced into it. So, what strikes me about this whole set of stories is you don't really think about what happens after the romance scam
Yeah,
and how
that's true.
there's really an opportunity here for someone who's malicious to just move in and go, "Well, you know what? Maybe we can help you out. Maybe you can make some money back. Maybe you can start doing this for us and moving the money around." Now, these guys are all based out of, I think it says West Africa, but they're probably out of Nigeria. And another one says here, Ghana. So the money eventually winds up over in Africa somewhere. And it's, we know that there are tons of groups over there. We know that the Nigerian government is actually pretty cooperative with the United States in extraditing these guys. I'm quite sure that's how these two Nigerian nationals wound up over here to get tried and sentenced. If you think you hate Nigerian scammers, try being Nigerian and in the government over there. They really don't like it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
They want to help and get these guys busted as quickly as they can.
Right.
So they're very happy in getting them extradited. But the fear and the coercion, I want to get back to that once you've been victimized by these guys, they continue to victimize people by coercing them and then having them become the legs here in the United States for getting the money and moving it around and sending it back to Nigeria. And there's tons of ways once you get a mule that you can do that. And if you don't care about the mule, if the mule is expendable to you, you can even have them commit crimes that will eventually get them caught, and then you just move on to another mule. So I don't know how do you defend yourself against this? I mean, there's all the telltale signs of the romance scam in all these stories. But again, we've talked about this as well, that when these people are in the thrall of these scammers, it's really difficult to talk them out of it.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know, maybe there's got to be some kind of research that has to be done into what the most effective way to do this is, and hopefully it doesn't just involve you losing all your money as the victim.
Or being re-victimized,
the person.
right.
Or being re-victimized, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you think about what it must do to someone's feelings of self-esteem and self-worth and all that sort of thing to have lost that much money.
Right.
And to have to face your family.
Yeah.
It's an existential crisis.
Tragic.
Like, how do you pay your bills? You got to do something to fix this, right? I'm sure a lot of people are in a tailspin after this has happened, and they're trying to fix it. I wonder, for people who've gone to the press with their stories about their romance scams, also, I'm hoping, has anyone clued them into this being a possibility for being reached out to by the scammers and as a follow-up? I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, I don't know about that specifically. So like when you come forward, I think that once you come forward, I don't know, maybe you're more inoculated than the average person against these kind of things.
Yeah.
But there are follow-on scams that happen to people, but usually it's not when they've been, when they've come forward and they go, you know what, I got scammed. There was a story a couple of weeks ago about I think it was a French woman that got scammed by the Brad Pitt scam, on Brad Pitt, I'm in the hospital.
Did we cover that? I want to.
No, we didn't.
No, we
I
didn't.
remember
Okay,
seeing it.
Right,
yeah, I remember
but the
this one.
French newspaper took it down because people began haranguing her and blaming her.
Well, that helps.
Right, exactly.
Well, maybe the discussion needs to be, for those of us who talk about stuff like this, that we need to add this into how we discuss things about romance scams, saying, even after you think the scam is done, there can be sort of this even more awful next step.
Follow-on scams.
Yeah, because I don't know if people are aware that this is even a thing. One would hope that people's awareness would be higher after experiencing this scam, but as we've often covered, oftentimes it's the families are involved and they're trying to help, and there's emotions are caught up in this. So, do people's families even understand that there could be a follow-on scam? I mean, gosh, make a bad situation worse, but. Again, that instinct comes into play with wanting to fix the problem that maybe you started, and it's just gets you in a deeper hole. So maybe that just needs part of our conversations, not just here, but more broadly.
Yeah.
Right.
The only other thing I'll add is that if you feel as though you have a strong enough relationship to do so, you can set up alerts on your loved one's bank accounts.
Right.
So
if they let you.
If they let you, right.
Right.
So if you can say, if a transaction larger than this amount occurs, let me know.
Right.
And so that's a way to help with this sort of thing. But not everyone, money's a funny thing, right? People have a tremendous amount of privacy when it comes to money, and it's just one of those things that people don't always like to share information or access to, and that's understandable.
Yeah.
But particularly as someone gets older and, if you're a family member looking to help protect their nest egg, hopefully you can make the case to say, look, I want to do this to help protect you.
Right.
So
maybe there's a place for a creative banking product here where your bank is now somehow responsible for the management of the money. And if they think that you're getting scammed and they see the evidence of it, then they can just say, no, we're not sending this money to these people because we think you're getting scammed.
Right.
I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah. I mean, but
I understand that.
I mean, that's the thing. You're an adult. It's your money.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you can do whatever you want with it.
What would you call that? It wouldn't be a custodial account, but it would be some kind of protective account? I don't know. Because
maybe
as
just
we
a
age,
pause, just like, hey, just, we're not going to say you can't do this, but we're just going to maybe say, got to wait 48 hours or something. Or I'm sure there's
a cooling off period.
Period. But I'm thinking
one
also
of your family members to buy in.
Yeah, well, I mean, what about people who are going through all this and their family has no idea? A lot of times people go through these romance scams, they get scammed, and then it becomes shame. They don't talk about it anywhere. And, they don't reveal it. And they go, okay, well, I got scammed, I got taken, but I don't need to tell anyone. Again, are they aware that there's actually a follow-on that could be coming days, weeks later?
Right.
So I think this needs to be part of the discussion.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will have links to both of the parts of this story in our show notes. Let's take a quick break to hear a message from our sponsor. So let's return to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. ThreatLocker is a zero-trust endpoint protection platform that strengthens your infrastructure from the ground up. Where traditional cybersecurity tools require you to create a list of things you don't want to run, ThreatLocker enables you to easily curate an allow list of everything you need in your environment and network, and block everything else by default. With ThreatLocker allow listing and ring fencing, you gain a more secure approach to blocking exploits of known and unknown vulnerabilities. ThreatLocker provides zero-trust control at the kernel level that enables you to allow everything you need and block everything else, including ransomware. The ThreatLocker Zero Trust Endpoint Protection Platform deploys in a learning mode that analyzes the operations of your company using machine learning to assist you in developing your allow list for approved applications, what they can do on the endpoint, what can interact with your data, and even east and west network traffic. We thank ThreatLocker for sponsoring our show. we are back. Maria, you are up. What do you have to share for us this week?
Well, we're no murder mystery. We're going to get to the heart of what really matters right now. I'm going to talk about restaurants and restaurant week and reservations.
All right.
That's something completely different. So the last 5 or so plus years, due to me being a parent of a young kid plus the pandemic, I have not been eating out at restaurants nearly as much as I used to when I was in my 20s. But
Right.
the landscape of making a reservation at a restaurant has changed so much. It was never, at popular places, it was never super easy, but usually it was like you call or you use an online reservation system and you could usually find something. I have found, at least for me in the last year or so, going up to a restaurant that looks completely empty with a group of 4+ people and being told, actually, we're completely booked, even though there's nobody in the restaurant. And if you're lucky, you get maybe a table in the back and that restaurant just never fills up. And I've been
They
trying
just
to figure
don't want you in the restaurant.
Yeah, I smell. That's actually what it is.
I get that a lot, actually.
Yeah. It happens to me every single time. What's going on with that?
Right.
And it's something that I've been talking with my friends about. We've all been sort of noticing this anecdotally. And we all stumbled upon something, finding out that there's a whole sort of black market auction system for reservations that's been happening with the ease of making online reservations at popular restaurants. So, for example, there's a tiki restaurant in the Boston area that I love that's really tiny. I mean, it's literally right up the side of a bus station in Harvard Square. It can only fit a very small amount of people every day. And getting a reservation at this place was never easy, but now it's nigh impossible. And I found that if I wanted to make a reservation through this auction system, it's like $500 just to place a bet that I could maybe get that reservation. So to say nothing of actually paying for it. And coincidentally, our friends at Datadome
I'm confused.
This is a bidding system. Yes.
Right. And I have to bid, I have to put $500, my own money, real American money, up. And if I don't get the reservation, am I out $500?
No, I would imagine it's like an eBay auction. Someone would outbid you and you just don't pay that money.
Oh, okay. So you have to make a bid and you don't actually pay the money. But in order to get the reservation, you're going to have to pay the $500.
That is my understanding. I have never done this because I don't want to support this system. For the record, I think this is completely awful.
Is the restaurant in on this?
No, this goes to a third-party broker. So here's So there's a big black market for this stuff, and I know New York City's trying to ban things like this, but it's a war of attrition and all that kind of stuff. And our friends at Datadome, so security research coming out of Datadome, have actually been taking a look at this. So it's not just me going, "What the heck." They took a look at this whole system in the context of New York City's Restaurant Week. And are you both familiar with Restaurant Week? Should I explain what this is? I'm not sure if people know.
I'm familiar. We have one here where we live, so I'm familiar with it. But go ahead and describe it for folks who might not be familiar.
Sure thing. Yeah. So the idea behind Restaurant Week, especially in New York, is twice a year for a week or so. Now it's like 2 weeks at a time. All the major restaurants or restaurants that want to bring new people in the door, they will offer a fixed price menu for that set period of time. And if you can get a reservation, you can eat an incredible fixed price meal at a really high-end restaurant that maybe you couldn't normally have afforded. When I was a student in New York City, this was the way a lot of us would get access to restaurants that were otherwise completely out of our price range. So the Datadome folks noticed that all of the online reservation systems that are used for doing Restaurant Week reservations in New York City were completely vulnerable to botnets, basically snatching up huge amounts of reservations at a time before a real person could, and then scalping them, which in their research, they rightly point out, this actually hurts restaurants a lot because if people aren't going to pay, $500 just to bid on a reservation, then suddenly that restaurant has a reservation that isn't actually going to get filled. So, so this isn't a thing. This is not a thing for us as the end user to necessarily do something about, but it's something that I'm sure the restaurants are very well aware of is a huge pain. And certainly, it's great that these online reservation systems, I'm not going to name names, but they're very integrated in search result pages and they're very easy to sign up for. But unfortunately, that means that the botnets also are finding them very, very easy to use. And Datadome is asking that maybe these online reservation systems put some kind of a speed bump in the place to prevent mass signups, just so we don't have, credential stuffing or mass account creations or scalper activity happening. But that would put some friction in the sign-up service that is probably not as great for end users. So I don't know what the conclusion is here, but I'm just glad that other people are noticing that it is really hard to get a reservation pretty much anywhere nowadays, and it shouldn't be this darn hard. And maybe there's something going on the black market that's making this worse. So it's not just me, and I don't smell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how it's possibly sustainable. Like, you described earlier the thing of walking into a restaurant that's mostly empty. But then, but them saying that we're completely booked, and so you luck into a table, but no one shows up for any of those. How that's for the restaurant, that's not sustainable.
Right. This is also a way you could do like a denial of service attack against a restaurant you don't like. Right. Just go out and make all the reservations and then have nobody show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
so competing restaurants are going after each other this way.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from folks, and I'm sure high-end restaurants, they don't really care because they're always in demand, and this makes them even seem more exclusive. So the value of those reservations seems to go up. And when I was reading the commentary on the bidding website for, I don't want to name the website because again, I don't like this business model.
Right.
They're basically arguing that high-end hotels and their concierge services, this is essentially the kind of thing that they used to do. You would go to like the Ritz and walk up to the concierge and go, "Can you get me a reservation at this hot restaurant? Here's some money. Please make this happen."
Mm-hmm.
They're saying, "Well, we're just taking that process and putting it online." But again, there's no friction. So bots are just like, woo, let's grab all of these. So, yeah.
Right.
So how much, here's my question, or maybe a proposed solution here. Although I don't know that this would work. I'm assuming that every bot making a reservation costs this company nothing.
Yeah.
Is that a good assumption?
I would assume that. Or next to nothing,
so.
pennies.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if a restaurant said, okay, you're going to make a reservation with us, the average per person bill here is, say, $50. Your reservation is going to cost you $25 per person.
Yes.
And if you show up and you eat, we will apply that to your bill.
Right.
As part
make
of the
deposit.
Prepaid. Right. You make a deposit essentially. And now, like, I got a table for 4, I got to put down $100.
Yeah.
And does that make this intractable for the reservation company? The reservation auctions.
I have seen that on reservations. Like there's a restaurant that my husband and I love to go to for our anniversary, and they actually do that. But they are also one of the more high-end restaurants in our case in Boston. And so I think they can afford to do that. I imagine places that aren't as high-end, that would probably drive away a lot of their customers. So I think restaurants are in a really a bit of a bind here. Because if you're super in demand, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to drum up business, putting up that kind of a barrier, saying, "Hey, pay some money up front before you've had the meal," that's a lot to ask.
Yeah. Not good. Not great for goodwill.
No.
Right.
But it doesn't feel great. Yeah.
The problem is, the restaurant is not. They're not part of the problem, right?
No.
They're just another victim in this scam.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know, maybe they're not victims if they're actually getting their reservations sold. But it's like ticket scalpers. These people are making money on this, on just being able. I don't like this
something that
at
should
all.
be free. It should be free to make a reservation. Like I don't understand.
Right.
That's just the fundamental thing that makes me mad. Like you can't experience a new restaurant. You can't try new stuff if there's all these money barriers being thrown up in your face. Happy to pay a bill after I've had the meal, but don't ask me to put money down first if I don't know anything about you. It's just
the other solution is do what all the big chain restaurants do and just don't take reservations.
Right.
Yeah, I hate that. I won't dine at them. If I call and I say I need to make a reservation, they'll be like, "Oh, we don't take reservations." I say, "Yeah, I'm not eating there. Have a nice night."
Yeah, there's all sorts of problems with that model too. So yeah.
Yeah.
Or just take phone-only reservations, but...
Yeah, phone-only reservations. I mean, that's how I make a reservation. I still call the restaurant and make a reservation. But that's automated with bots
too now. Like Google will call you on like you can use that Google service that'll call the restaurant on your behalf. Like,
yeah, I don't want that
yeah.
either. I want to.
Yeah.
I don't want any of this. Nobody asked for this.
Joe's just going to put his money into a good backyard grill.
Right. I have a really good backyard grill. It's a Weber. It's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cooks really good.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed
Everybody
to
go
use
to
it
Joe's
because
house.
I burned everything up. But my wife and son use it, and they do a really good job. I don't get to cook beef anymore. I only get to cook seafood and other things.
Okay.
Breakfast.
Cool. All right. Well, we will have a link to the story in our show notes. Joe, Maria, it is time to move on to our catch of the day.
Dave, our catch of the day comes from the subreddit Scams over on Reddit. I haven't seen this one yet, Dave.
Well, this is a fun one.
Okay.
Oh,
I tell you what.
can I just tell you something? The OP is very clearly Greek. I'm looking at
Oh,
it.
is that right?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
there's a thing at the top that says translate into Greek in the post.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, that's really funny. It doesn't have any relevance to the actual story, but that's making me laugh looking at that.
Is that what the Greek letter?
With the Google Translate thing that says translate into Greek, and then in the user's name it says Emena, which means me. So you can.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Maria, why don't you and I team up on this, and I will start off. So I will be the person reaching out to you, and you'll be the respondent.
I'll be
All right?
Emena. Sounds good. I'll do that.
Yes, you'll be that.
I'll be that.
It
I'll be
starts
me.
off and it says, hello, I came across your campaign ad on gogetfunding.com about needing donations for your cause, which I'm very touched by. However, I've not donated yet, but I will soon make it on your Go Get Funding campaign page once I'm done with what I'm doing. May the good Lord be with you through this hard time.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your prayers and for your willing to help. It happened that I just read your email after arranging the final appointment for my baby's examination. However, we are still lacking the funds needed to travel to the clinic for the tests. And just before reading your message, I texted my husband, let's pray we'll find a way to make it happen. I am so grateful to God for answering my prayers and to you for appearing in our lives with your help. God bless you.
Hello, I would like to inform you that I just donated 2,000 euros to your campaign to help your cause, and I hope it helps in every way possible. Furthermore, I got an email from them which I will attach a screenshot of the copy to this email, as they said the funds would not be reflected or released to your account yet. As was stated in the email, there is an error at your end, and you should reach out to them at gogetfunding@programmer.net to get it resolved as soon as possible.
Wait a minute. Is this two scammers working against each other?
Nope.
No,
Okay, so
no.
this person actually does have a Go Get Funding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Wait for it, Jim.
yes.
Wait
All right.
for it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
And so the attached email says, this is to inform you that Pastor Tao Zhen donated 2,000 euros to your account. Still, the donation has been placed on hold in our escrow payment system and will not be reflected on the campaign page or released into your PayPal account until the error that prompted us to withhold the donation has been resolved. Reply directly to this email to learn more about the error. We'll then walk you through every step to fix your account and release the donation to your PayPal account. We're very sorry for the inconvenience. Thanks, the Go Get Funding team.
And then they say, hello, what's wrong with my account?
Thanks for using Go Get Funding. This is to inform you that the donation of 2,000 euros has been made by Pastor Tao Zhen, but placed on hold by us until you've completed the biometric signature security settings. The biometric signature security settings is a procedure introduced to protect each of our platform users and also ensure the smooth flow of making and receiving donations without any issues or delay. Your account will not be activated to receive the donation that has been made to you until the biometric signature security setting has been completed by you, as it is only after then that the hold on the donation would be lifted and fully deposited into your account. Kindly reply to this email so we can walk you through the steps for completing the biometric signature security settings. Thanks, the Go Get Funding team.
Yes, please proceed. What should I do?
Thanks for getting back to us. To complete the biometric signature security settings, you can activate your account to receive the donation. You are required to go to the nearest store to get an Apple iTunes gift card
Oh, my
of 50
Lord.
euros. Did I say wait for it or what?
I was wondering
There
where this
was
is going.
payoff, but
And this just takes a hard left turn
Doesn't
into a
it?
gift
yeah, I
card
was like,
scam.
okay, what?
Yeah,
Across 3 lanes of traffic.
exactly. Once you've gotten the gift card, take a picture of the gift card to reveal the code on it, as the card redeem code serves as an essential tool in facilitating the biometric signature security settings. Also, you are required to append your signature on a piece of paper and send a picture of it to us. You can also get the gift card online on our website, which would be delivered to your email to save you the hassles of going to the store. Once we've received the necessary information, the biometric signature security setting will be processed and completed to activate your account and receive the donation within 10 to 15 minutes, along with 50 euros for the biometric signature security setting. Once the biometric setting is completed, the 2,050 euros will be released, deposited, and reflected in your PayPal account. This is the 2,000 euros and 50 euros used for the Apple iTunes gift card purchase.
I see.
Thanks, the Go Get Funding team.
See, the fact that they're going to give you that money back makes it seem more trustworthy, Dave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the gift card's just kind of a middle thing, right? Just a verification.
Right. A verification thing.
but like the two, I mean, I made the exact same noise that both of you did when I was reading through this. When it took the hard turn into a gift card scam, I did not see that coming. That was
No.
that just came out of nowhere. So
it's just sort of Pastor Tao Jen just put a different hat on and just, I'm guessing? Because
Yeah, it's all the same guy. or
yeah,
group of guys.
definitely.
Right.
yeah.
Oh,
So
geez.
taking advantage of someone in need, stringing them along by saying you're going to help them. It seems like in this case is a medical need for a child.
Right.
So how despicable is that?
Yes.
And then ultimately just being a lousy 50 euro gift card scam.
Right.
Awful. All right. Well, we will have a link to that in our show notes. And of course, we would love to hear from you. If there's something you'd like us to consider for the show, you can email us. It's hackinghumans@n2k.com. And of course, we want to thank this week's sponsor, ThreatLocker. Go to threatlocker.com/HH and check out their Zero Trust Endpoint Protection Platform. That's the words threat and locker with no space.com/HH, where you can request a demo and neutralize the threat of malware running on your devices. And that is Hacking Humans, brought to you by N2K Cyberwire. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to hackinghumans@n2k.com. This episode is produced by Liz Stokes. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. We're mixed by Elliot Peltzman and Trey Hester. Our executive editor is Brandon Karpf. Peter Kilpie is our publisher. I'm Dave Bittner.
I'm Joe Kerrigan.
And I'm Maria Vermazis.
Thanks for listening.